Wholesaler, house flipper, puppy with a slipper. Unless you live under a rock, you know that the housing market is going insane and good deals are getting harder and harder to find. So why is it that we spend our hard-earned money driving for dollars or skip tracing properties, and then we don't even keep track of the leads we actually make contact with? Or when we finally do get up the nerve to cold call, we talk to someone who's interested and wants us to call them back in a few days, but then we lose their contact info in a mess of sticky notes and random papers. You know what I'm talking about. The cost of a disorganized business is higher than you think, and I don't know for sure, but I can guess that throwing away money isn't part of your business plan. And if it keeps happening, you're gonna run out of cash sooner rather than later. I realized that I was in this exact situation a few weeks ago, and in today's video, I want to show you guys what I did to change it and stop the bleeding. This is my first time cold calling like homeowners who don't have their homes for sale. About 2 weeks into my wholesaling journey, I sat down to cold call for the very first time, and it went about as well as you might expect.
Why do you people call like property to you guys for a little or nothing?
Let me call him back. But it wasn't all bad. I'm calling about the property you own on Yorktown Avenue. I'm a local investor. We're buying some houses in that neighborhood. Do you have a moment to chat?
Not right now. I'm gonna do some work right now for you. You calling back?
Okay, can I call you back this evening?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
That was actually the very first time I ever spoke to someone who didn't cuss me out, didn't say I had the wrong number, or didn't just outright hang up on me. She was interested in selling her property and she wanted me to call her back later that night. And I never did. I've never shared this before because it's kind of embarrassing, but I couldn't figure out which person she was based on the numbers that were on my list. And to be honest, I've been really unorganized. I've tried to keep things straight between notebooks and Excel tables and documents on Notion, but between growing really quickly and not realizing the value of investing in my business, things have been all over the place. I've wasted plenty of money on leads that just never got followed up with, which means I've lost out on deals and I've lost out on money. Recently, a more experienced investor told me to check out a software called RESimpli, and with you guys in mind, I got the chance to interview the owner of RESimpli and ask him all of the questions that I thought would be useful for my business, but also useful for you guys. Plus, I got him to hook you guys up with a big discount. RESimpli is a CRM, which is a customer relationship management software. And the owner of the company, Sharad, is like the opposite of me right now. I'm trying to get on his level. He not only owns and runs RESimpli, but he also house flips, wholesales, has a rental portfolio, and has a property management company. He is just so organized, and after walking through RESimpli with him, I can see why. Now, I almost didn't put this video out because I don't want it to come off as salesy, yet I also realized that so much goes into running a successful real estate business, and not a lot of that behind the scenes information is shared on YouTube, so I'm trying to change that. This is episode 1 in a new series on the channel where I'm just gonna show you guys the behind the scenes of all of the tools and software that are running my business. I'm only gonna show you guys tools that I'm actually using, so whether or not you decide to use them yourself, at least you'll get an understanding of what full-time investors are doing to find success, because tools like RESimpli really are behind keeping track of the conversations that you have with leads, making sure you automatically follow up, and just generally closing more deals consistently. RESimpli isn't sponsoring this video, meaning they didn't pay me to make it. They did, however, hook me up with an affiliate link, so if you sign up using it, I will get a kickback to support the channel, and you'll get 50% off your first month trying out the software if you sign up within 48 hours of this video dropping. I think the best place to start, and where most of us are losing money, is in how we're keeping track of our leads. I've got over 3,000 leads in my system right now, and here's the dashboard I'm using to keep track of all of them.
So this is essentially, you can see what your leads pipeline looks like, so you can see how many leads you have, and you can quickly get an idea about what stage they're in.
As you can see on the top left, you've got the leads that you haven't made contact with yet. This is where I uploaded the list from my first direct mail campaign, as well as any lists I get while driving for dollars or finding properties on the MLS. Any lead I want in my system starts off right here. Your goal is to then move each lead from left to right, to contact made, to appointment set, offers made, end goal, assigned to buyer if you're gonna wholesale it.
All the leads that you had, but you missed a call, will be no contact made, and anything that you attended to will be in contact made.
When you go into a lead, what are some of the things that we can see about just the details of it?
So you have your basic information about the contact information that you'll put for the lead. You can add your seller, you can add buyer if you're wholesaling the property. You can also add an agent if you're going to list this property. Then you have your property address. And this is really important. You know which lead source and which campaign it came from.
So this right here is a feature that's proven really valuable. Let's say that you're gonna find leads in two different ways, bandit signs and direct mail. RESimpli lets you put two different phone numbers on those marketing materials. So if somebody calls that direct mail number, you'll automatically see in RESimpli that it's a direct mail lead. And if somebody calls the number on the bandit signs, RESimpli will automatically show you that's a bandit sign lead. This saves you money right away because you can see if all of your deals are coming from direct mail leads, then maybe you don't need to keep spending money on bandit signs.
And then as you scroll down, you have your, basic property information. Once you put in the property address, we pull some data from third-party company, like, this is an absentee owner. So I can see absentee owner is essentially where the property address is different from the mailing address. So we automatically pull that information. So you can see this is absentee. We have the owner's name, their mailing address, bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, lot size, and what kind of property it is, where, and some estimated value. You can override this, but at least we pull this from essentially property assessor data. But if something doesn't match, then, if you know for sure that, hey, this person has actually added another bathroom in the basement, then you can override this.
The next feature that saves you money and that I've definitely started to use is to keep all of the communication and notes about a particular lead in one organized place. If you're a one-person show, you can keep all of your notes to yourself in one spot. And if you have VAs or you use an answering service like Call Porter, all of that communication about that deal happens just to the right of the screen and everything stays there forever. I really like the fact that I can listen to the first call before I call the seller back.
Absolutely.
So I can, before they even talk to me, I'm picking up, like you said, on their tone. Are they super talkative? Do I need to ask them about their kids?
Exactly.
Or
Absolutely.
are they someone who's like just right to the point? So
yeah.
I think that's a huge feature. So what you've seen so far is already getting us more organized, but another thing that I've started to set up are automated tasks. This way I don't have to memorize and try to keep in my brain every little thing that needs to happen on all of the different leads. When I first started out and I only had 2 or 3 leads, okay, I could maybe keep up with them. But as soon as you start to get more than just a handful of leads, this is gonna become super important.
You set up your workflow in the beginning as you're using in your business. So these are some, test tasks set up. So think of it, let's say, perfect example, Lili, you have the property under contract, right? So, there's certain things that need to be done with every property that goes under contract, right? You need to, like for us, we need to check if the property is in flood zone. That's a big issue for us where we invest. We need to get contractor estimate. We need to send the contract to escrow company, call city to confirm there's no pending issue. Like these are some examples, that we want to make sure that are done before we move forward, right? We've signed a contract. So you can set up these tasks for each stage that you have. And then every time the property goes in that stage, it will automatically trigger that task. And you can assign it to different people in your team. For example, if I have this in no contact made, we have this task assigned to acquisition manager. So whoever is the acquisition manager for that lead will get a task assigned to call the lead. Once you set up a list, a checklist, you set it, you forget it, and it will keep reminding you, it will keep triggering those tasks for everything in your business. From the time lead comes in to you get it under contract, you assign to a buyer, if you're rehabbing it, if you sell it, or if you have a rental property, on all those stages, it will keep triggering those tasks for you.
So here's another embarrassing thing. I have so many pictures from so many properties on my phone, like it's ridiculous. You guys know some of the crazy things that I've seen, but if I was to go back and look at those pictures, I have no idea what property address it's from or what the conversation with the seller was like. It's just all a big jumble in my head. And so I asked Sharad about how you can keep files for a property all in one place.
Think of it essentially, it's like a Google Drive or Dropbox feature built in, but it's organized by every single property. So let's say if I have this property, I have this under contract. Let's say if I have a home inspector who goes out and he's going to take pictures for me, for example, or if I have a runner who's going to go out and take pictures for me, what I can do is I can create a folder and say before pictures. And this is what we do in our business. So I create this folder. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to create a shareable link, very similar to Google Drive and Dropbox, and I can choose what permission I want to give with this link. let's say for this specific one, I'm going to say view and add new files. So the person who gets this link, they will be able to view any files, and they will also be able to add any new files.
Real quick, for those of you who are wholesaling or investing virtually, the ability to send someone else a link and just have them take the pictures and upload them directly into your system is going to be clutch.
Once I open it, this is what it's going to look like for somebody outside of the business, right? So what they can do is they can go in right here. They can drop the files that they have.
Speaking of buyers, I had Sharad show me how you can organize and build your buyers list within RESimpli, and I'll show you guys that in a moment. But I also had him talk about how you can communicate with your buyers and send them contracts for e-signatures from right within the platform.
If you have your e-sign agreement, you upload it. Essentially, you're building out your template once, wherever the buyer needs to sign, wherever the seller needs to sign. So once you set it up, 90% of your work is done. Then it's just about sending the same template over and over again to your buyers or sellers, depending on the transaction type. So this is the actual purchase agreement that we use in our business. Then we can set it up, the date, buyer name. If you are buying the property in the same entity, then you can pre-fill it, so you don't have to fill it out every time. The seller's name, and you can basically drag and drop whatever field somebody needs to fill out, right? And you can say this would be seller name will go here, for example. So when somebody gets it, they know exactly what they need to fill out. Then you can save it and close, and then you can go into any specific property. Let's say if I go into this one I have under contract. Then what I will do is I'll click on send for e-sign, and then I'll choose that agreement. I'll fill in the name of the people that I want to send it to. Let's say I'm going to do this. Another cool thing you can do is, I'm just going to put your name. I'm just going to use, we also include our title company in that contract. They don't have to sign anything, but we put them as a CC. So once everybody is signed, they automatically get that email. So we don't even have to forward it to them. As soon as the contract is signed by both buyers and sellers, they get the contract and they can start the title work. And then we have a task for ourselves. They just confirm that they got it and everything is moving forward with the title. And you can also see if they opened it or if they did not open it. So, once you send it a month or day later, you can check and see, oh, hey, Mr. Seller, I noticed that you opened the contract, but you haven't responded. Is there anything that I can answer? So it tracks whether they've opened it or if they haven't, and then say, oh, can you please send it to me, which happens a lot of times. Then you can click resend invite, and it's just going to resend them the invite again.
Okay, I just want to stop here for a second. There are a ton of features packed into RESimpli, more so than I've even shown you so far. I haven't gotten every little thing I want implemented for my business yet, and I asked Sharad about that because what I don't want for myself or for you guys is to just see it get so overwhelmed and be like, can't do it. And he assured me that anybody who does want to sign up for RESimpli, you're going to get unlimited onboarding. It'll be completely free. So whenever you want to set up a call with someone from his team to help you implement any of the features that you want in your business, you can do that for free. Okay, back to the next features. Something that I'm utilizing for the first time is the drip campaign feature. And this isn't something that I understood or really put much value in at first, but as I've started to go through it, I'm starting to realize how this could really help you close more deals.
You can set up drip campaigns for any number of steps. You can set up a direct mail. You can set up an SMS, a task reminder to call the lead, an RVM or email. So you can set any of these 5 in whatever frequency, whatever duration you want. So you can set these up. I'm going to show you one by default that's set up. So for example, something like this, I can say, okay, send this text out 3 minutes after we set it up. Then I can add another step and I can say, okay, wait for another day, and then remind, a task for my acquisition manager to call the lead. Then I can set up another step and I can say, all right, send another SMS. And you can customize this. So if you have leads information, you can say, hi, first name, my name is, and then you can even do customization for your own team. My name is acquisition manager. So if you're sending out, setting up the drip campaign for a lead where I am the acquisition manager, it's going to pick up my name, versus if you are the same drip, if you are the acquisition manager, it's going to go out with your name. So you don't have to keep changing it. Can we talk about your property at property street address? We are looking to buy properties and then you can do in property city, something like this, and then you can set it up, right? Oops. So I did it 3 hours. So you can set this up, and then once you set it up on a drip, it's going to start sending those messages. But the other cool thing that you can do is, so I can go into my specific campaign for, so whatever phone number campaign that you use, you can go in and you can automate that drip sequence. So what a lot of people that we know that are using RESimpli, what they do is they would, especially for your missed calls, what they would do is they would, as soon as a missed call, they would set up a text message to go out a minute or 2 minutes later and say, hey, I'm sorry I missed your call. I'm going to call you in 5 minutes from this number, Sharad, for example. And you can make it very personalized. So if you know you're setting this up for direct mail absentee, you can say, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you just got, you called me about a direct mail letter that you got from me. Sorry, I missed your call. I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes. I'm on another line, right? It just sounds like, you actually missed their call, and then, you read it and you know who you're texting back.
It makes me think about like, if I start off with like a cold calling campaign and I can't get in touch with someone, then maybe I automate to send them a direct mail piece,
exactly.
A week or so later, or even vice versa. I send the mail first. If I didn't hear back from them, then I call them and say, hey, I'm the one who mailed you, that type of thing.
Oh, if you do those simple things today, like you're going to see your conversion go through the roof.
Yeah, I have to do that because I know that there's deals I've missed out on just because I didn't follow up. Like I'm thinking back to like one of my first times cold calling, and the woman answered the phone and she was like, I'm at work right now, but give me a call back, and at this time on this day or whatever, because we are interested in selling, blah, blah, blah. And then I just forgot about it. Like I took a note on a piece of paper, and then I forgot about it.
We've all been there.
Yeah. And then I couldn't find her number again. And it's just, it got lost.
You're an exception where you got a call from, campaign, like, yeah, I have a 33 unit building that I want to sell. It's not going to happen with most people. Most people are going to say, yeah, I'm interested, but follow up with me in a few months. It's really, really important to have a very detailed log of all the communication you've had, because you don't want to call back somebody 6 months later and make them feel like, hey, can you tell me what did we talk about? Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, they're like, oh my God, like you don't even care who I am. You have to make them feel very, very special. You have to make them feel like you know about their property. So having those communication, like call recordings, you listen to it before you call somebody. So you know exactly what they're simple things, like if they talked about their dog, their pet, their grandkid, definitely mention that. It's going to make such a big difference. It's going to give you an edge over anybody else. Like simple things like that. Let's say if I'm going to call somebody this lead, let's say if this is something, if I have a note, the owner has 2 dogs and loves them, right? That's the dog's name. It's Sparky and Timmy, for example. That's it. Like this is a note that I'm going to leave for myself, and I'm going to pin this, right? So now next I'm going to call this, I'm going to see, oh, there's a pin note. Oh, the owner has 2 dogs and loves them, Sparky and Timmy. Imagine this. I call this person 6 months later, and I go on an appointment and I take some doggy treat. I mean, imagine, and somebody else goes there, like they have absolutely no shot of getting that deal versus me that actually has those notes, all their communication. It's simple things that are going to make the biggest difference.
It's like a cheat code. It really is.
Exactly.
When I first started, I was always just wondering like, man, how are people so organized? How do they stay on top of the follow-up? And like you said, remember those little things that the seller said. It's like, oh, well, I just listened to our conversation from 3 months ago. I just listened to it right before I called. So it's now refreshed. So it's like a cheat code. I think the next thing that we said we're going to talk about was the calendar integration.
So if I make an appointment on RESimpli, it's going to show up on my Google Calendar. And if I make an appointment on my Google Calendar, it's going to show up on my RESimpli calendar, but on my RESimpli calendar, it's going to show up as a personal appointment. So these are all the appointments that are made on my Google Calendar that show up as a personal appointment. So let's say if you have a doctor's appointment, somebody on your team, you're going on a vacation. So it's not going to say, hey, you have an appointment with this specific doctor at this. No, it's just we're going to only show up as personal appointment, and it's going to block your time. And then you can set up your availability here. So you can say, all right, so I'm going to be available, let's say Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday for appointments. Tuesday and Wednesday and Sunday, let's say I'm not available. And you can set up time for each day also that you're available. Let's say if I go into any lead, and again, Call Portal uses this a lot. So if I send them my web form, they can actually book an appointment for me through the web form. But let's say if I come right here and let's say if I want to book an appointment, it's going to show my availability. It says, oops, no time slot available. So they go on Monday, it shows my time slot. So if they go on Wednesday, it doesn't. So because I had Tuesday and Wednesday blocked off. So if I go on Thursday, it's going to say, oh, I have these time slots available from 8 to 5. And then once they book me for a specific time, so let's say they do for 8 to 9 a.m. on November 25th. Oh, it's actually Thanksgiving. 8 to 9 a.m. So once they book this appointment for me and then they come back, it will show that time as blocked for me. So if I come right calendar. Here, yeah. And then it's also going to show up in my Google Calendar. Right. Because I've synced up my Google Calendar.
Kind of following in this thread, like we're getting these things set up. We have maybe someone else taking our calls, or even we're taking our own calls. Can you show me the web form and how somebody might use that to log the information from a phone call?
Absolutely. So this is so let's say if you're using Call Porter for your incoming answering call. So that's what we use. So I'll just walk you through on how it works for us. So this is your web form. You can choose what information the person you're sending the web form to, what information will be visible to them, right? If you don't want them to be filling out bedroom, bathroom information, then you can just hide it, right? You see hidden. And if I want them to ask the pricing question, I just want them to ask, how much are you looking to sell the house for? I don't want them to ask this question. I've made this visible, this is hidden. And all the motivation question, I say, Zillow link to the property. I don't want them to fill out. I don't want them to fill out anything with the rental, right? So once I update this, I'm going to click on copy to clipboard. And then once somebody opens this is what the web form is going to look like. All the questions that I had made visible here are the ones that they can see right here. Right. So now let's say they start putting in the information. So they put, let's say, this phone number. And then once they do, it's going to say, oh, there's already 5 leads attached to this phone number. Do you want to update one of the leads, or you want to create a new lead for this? So then this way you're not, if this is one of the leads, if I want to just update this one, this is from Michael Jackson, then I don't have to, it's not creating duplicate leads for it. Versus if I had one that's a brand new lead, then it's just going to start basically a brand new lead. So I can put in this information. Let's say I can say this came from, you don't have to fill this out when you're filling out the lead form, because if it's from incoming call, it's going to populate that automatically. But let's exactly. And then you can put in the email address and then the price, let's say 150 this. What's the mortgage on the house is this, not occupied. And let's say I go ahead and save it. Okay. And then this lead is going to get populated right here in my system. So right here. So this is all the information that I filled out, right? So I can see, and then see, this is automatically linked up with my list stacking also. It tells me that this property is not vacant. It's checking from USPS also. And it's only part of my RESimpli leads, meaning it's not in any other list that I'm marketing to. So that's another cool thing that you get to see. And then I can click right here and I can see the map view of this property. So I can, kind of, and this is a very interactive map. You can actually walk around. You can do a street view of this. And then from here, I can see this new lead was created via web form. If this was created from incoming call, I would have a call recording also. And all the information that they filled out, it's right here for that property.
That's really good. So whether you are taking your own calls or someone else's, like, you can just log that info and then have it. No more writing on a piece of paper.
Exactly. Yeah. So even if you don't write anything, right? The important thing, you ask them the question, you're going to have the call recording. What some people would do is, let's say they're on the road, they're not able to like pull over and get this information. They'll just have a normal conversation. They'll come back and they'll just listen to the call recording and then input all the information.
You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Like, that's a lot. I mean, Call Porter is a professional company, so they would take the notes and do it for you. But a lot of acquisition people, they're going to be on the road. Like, they're not going to be in front of their computer. They're not going to be able to open up the web form. So the simple thing is, hey, just talk to your seller, just have a normal, natural conversation with them. Everything is going to be recorded. you can come back and update all your lead intake form after the conversation is done.
Let's jump over to the calculator tab. I know that was an interesting one as well.
Let's say you're going to make an offer on this property. There's a couple of things you can do. There's a basic calculator that you have. I'm going to put in the ARV of, let's say, 250,000, and let's use 70% simple formula. You can put in your repair numbers either as a percentage of the ARV or a dollar value. So percentage, let's say I'm going to put, this is going to be based on my walkthrough. I think this is going to be simple paint, flooring, mostly cosmetic. So I'm going to put 10%, right? And I want to make I want to make 15,000 on this. Then it tells me based on these numbers, I need the maximum allowable offer for me is 135,000, which will give me, which I will be able to wholesale this property for 150,000, and I'll have a wholesale fee of 15,000 on this. And then you can adjust these numbers. Of course, when you're making these offer, you want to try to bump these up to 20,000. So you have a little bit more room. And then so 70% here, you can do 65% again, just to be more conservative with your numbers. If the seller agrees with that, then you have a higher profit that you can make. Again, if it's a hot market, then, you would even go up to 72-75% we've seen in some market. But if the market is really slow, not many people are buying, then you want to be on the lower side of the number.
So this is where I want to show you guys how I'm building and organizing my buyers list within RESimpli. It's actually helping me expand to other markets because I recently got a deal. It's an 11 unit in Ohio.
I am actually at a property that Lili sent me. This one right here. Let's check it out.
And we're underwriting it right now, but I was able to look within my buyers database in RESimpli and quickly find the people who would be interested in a deal in that state.
This would be my buyers database. So this is like a visual dashboard of how many total contacts you have. So you can add your buyers and agents. Some people like to, keep them separate. So you can tag them differently, and you can see how many of your total contacts you have with email addresses, how many total contacts you have with the phone number, whether you have mobile number or not. So once you upload your buyers database, we check for their phone number. If it's a landline, mobile, VoIP number. So, if you're texting somebody, then you only want to text to mobile numbers, whether these are individual buyers or corporate, what percentage of your total contacts you've actually done deals with, right? There's one thing of having 10,000 buyers list, but if you're only doing business with one person, then, do you really want to have that big of a buyers database? So this is what your buyers database would look like. You can either import your list by clicking right here. So if you have a list of CSV, then it'll just walk you through on how to import it, or you can simply add, one buyer at a time. And then you can also customize this. And in the updated version in a couple of weeks, you will also have the option for web form for buyers also. Just like you had for the leads, you can do the exact same thing for the buyers. And you can put your company name, you can put your company logo or your own picture if you want, and then you can send it out. You can choose what question they will be able to see, what question they will be able to hide. They will not be able to see. You send it out, they fill in their information, and that person gets added to the buyer's database. So it's really perfect. Good. Let's say if you're in a local RIA meeting and you get somebody's email address or you get somebody's phone number, you say, hey, I'm going to text you my buyer's web form, just fill in your information and I'll start sending you lists. So they can go in, the person that you're sending it to, they can go in and they can fill in all the information, right? They can put in their name, first name, last name, if they're with a company, whether they're a buyer or an agent, their phone number, email, what cities they're buying properties in, right? They can put Chicago, New York, whatever areas they're buying in.
So this is what I'm talking about right here. Every person that I've networked with or been introduced to or DMs me and says, hey, I'm a buyer looking for properties, I just send them this link and they're able to fill out all of their information, including where they're buying at. And then I can search by that state within RESimpli whenever I want to send out a deal.
And then that will get added in your buyers database. And then you can say, do you have proof of funds? Yes. Number of deals you're aiming to do this year, this can be completely customized. So once they've updated this information, it will come right here in the buyer's database. So then next thing you will do is, let's say if you have your list ready, right? Then you're going to filter it. You can save your templates also if you want to have saved templates of people that you have email and cell phone numbers, right? If you want to apply that. So let's say you have 3 people that you have mobile number and also email. So I'm going to do this, and then I can go in and
dark.
Tony Stark, Spider-Man. Yeah, those are our top buyers, especially Tony Stark.
I know,
He's
right?
got some cash. He's got some cash from those Iron Man, movies. Yeah, you can come right here, and then you can say either you can do send bulk SMS, right? And it's going to say, hey, you're sending bulk SMS to 3 people. And so we're going to send bulk SMS from a toll-free number, which has a much higher deliverability rate. And it makes you also, another thing we've noticed, it makes you look, you come across a little bit more professional sending it from a toll-free number. But the cool thing is it's a two-way toll-free number. So you can text out, you can call out, you can receive calls, and you can also receive text messages. So once you send it out, you can give it a campaign name, right? 123 Main Street. And then you can put in your message, hi, first name. So it's going to pick up the buyer's first name. Check out this property at 123 Main Street. Here's a link with pictures. So then you copy paste your RESimpli link with pictures, send it out. They open it. If they reply back to you, all the communication will be right here. Everything that you've had, everything you've talked to this person will be right here. So you don't have to go back and forth and like figuring out like, hey, this is like, you can see this, I can send this campaign over. This is a text message I sent out, and then the person just send details over, for example. So all the communications you've had and any deals that they've actually done with them will be logged in right here. So if I go back to Tony Start and I can see I have 3 deals, I can click this, it's going to take me to that specific property. And I can, hey, Tony, I sold you that property. And then you can see the tags that you have for that property. You can click back on the buyer's name. It'll bring you back right there, and you can see all the tags that you have for that buyer also. And then you can also, just like you have the files for your leads, you also have the files for your buyers also. So if you get proof of funds, corporate documents, anything related to that buyer, you might want to upload in that file section for that buyer. So you don't have to ask them, like everything is very organized. And again, you can share this link. Like you can say, hey, Tony, I'm going to send you a link, a file sharing link. Can you please, put your proof of funds, your corporate documents in that folder? Once they do, it gets automatically saved for that buyer.
Each of the things you've seen today are features I'm working on implementing into my own business to save money and stop missing out on deals. So if you want to try it out, you'll get 50% off your first month if you sign up within 48 hours of this video dropping. And if you decide to sign up after that, you'll always get 20% off using the code Lili. If you want to learn more about that direct mail campaign that scored me 33 units, check out this video right here. You can click the screen or links will be in the description.